Hi, today we'll be studying functions. Now, most of you do have an idea of what functions are. I've been repeating that word for quite some time now, and you're already familiar with polynomials, so this topic will be very easy to grasp. Now, first of all, there's another way to define functions. First, you define sets, and then a cross b, a multiplied by b, this operator. Then you define what's a relation, and function has a special kind of relation. Now that's a very good. That's how functions are. That's what functions are. But we have another analogy. So functions, you can think of functions as machines. Okay. So this is your machine, and you can call them functions. Now what it does is you give it an input. Okay. For example, x, and it gives you an output. For example, y. Okay, x is an input. Functions do something to x, and out comes y. An example of a function can be, which we have studied, f of x. That's how we represent functions. Now f might not be necessary. You can write g of x, h of x, etc. Alright, so example is f of x is equal to mx plus c. We have already dealt with this function. It's a linear function, and what does it does is you give it an x, it multiplies it with some number, and then adds some number to the product. And you also know how this function looks like, something like this. Now of course, depending on the values of c and m, this line will change, but the essence remains the same, that it will be a line. M is the slope, c is the y-intercept. An important property of functions is that for every input, for one value of x, for one value of input, you will always get only one output. Okay, it won't happen that you give one value of x and you will get two values of y. No, one value of x, one value of y. That's it. So consider this function g of x as root x. Okay. Now, how will its graph? What will its graph look like? This is root x. This is x. Now, if at x is equal to 0, this will be 0. All right. And notice it can't take negative values, otherwise we will have something like root of -2. Now those of you who know what imaginary numbers are, yes, that's 2 iota, root 2 iota. But the thing is, we can't plot them. If we have imaginary numbers in there, we can't plot them. And even if you come up with some function of a real part and some imaginary part, we can only plot its magnitude. So we'll consider only positive values of x. So x greater than 0. So this part only. And the thing is, this function g of x gives only the positive values. It doesn't give negative values. For say root 9. So this will give you 3, not -3. Alright, because a function can have only one output. So it will look something like this. Okay, at 0 it's 0. And for every positive x, it gives a positive value for y, not a negative value. And then as x increases, root x will also increase, and it will go on forever. Okay, so we have a limited set of values. Now, one x can give only one y. That's okay. But one value of y can correspond to two or more values of x. For example, consider h of x as x square. Okay, and you do have an idea what it looks like. It looks something like this. Alright. So for one value of y, this value, you extend this. Okay. And drop perpendiculars, you get two values of x. Okay, So this value of x gives let me call this y naught, this is x naught, and this will be minus x naught. This is 0. So x naught will give you y naught. Y naught will be x naught square, and minus x naught square will also give you y naught. So two values of x can give the same value for y, but one value of x can give only one value of y. Alright, now let me consider another interesting function, 1 by x. What will it look like? Let's see. So let me draw the graph. This is y, this is x, and this is 0. The origin, you can extend. Now here's the thing. If x is positive, f of x will be positive. I hope you understand. And if x is negative, f of x will be negative. So for positive value of x, you can imagine that this function, this graph of this function will be above x-axis, and for negative values, for x lesser than 0, this will be downwards, below this axis. Alright. Now let me write f of 10. What will be f of 10? It will be 1 by 10. What will be f of 100? It will be 1 upon 100. So you see, as x is increasing, your f of x is decreasing. Alright. And as you decrease your x, f of x will increase. Alright. Now and let us put in negative values. So f of, again, minus 10 will be something 1 upon minus 10, and f of minus 100 will be minus 1 upon 100. So again, the values are turning more and more negative as you go towards 0 from the left hand side. Now putting values of these functions can be thought of as going towards 0. Okay, so if you are 100 going to 10, you are approaching 0 from the right hand side, and if you are at minus 100 and approaching minus 10, you are approaching 0 from your left hand side. Okay, now let me plot this function. How does it look like? It looks something like this. Okay. It's a very weird graph. Now this is called a hyperbola. Alright. Now again, x is positive, f of x is positive, so for x greater than 0, this is above the x-axis. For x lesser than 0, it is below the x-axis, and x is decreasing, f of x is increasing, and if x is increasing or going towards 0 from the negative side, f of x is increasingly becoming more and more negative. Now what is happening at x is equal to 0? At f of x equal to 0, f of x will be 1 by 0, and 1 by 0, this is not defined. Now you may think of it as positive infinity, but you can if it's going upwards, but you can clearly see that it's also going downwards. But I can explain that. Consider again f of minus 100, it's 1 upon something like this, and if you just try and put different values, alright, f of 1, this would be minus 1. So minus 1 by 100 looks something, it will be somewhere over here. Then minus 1 by 10 will look something like this. Then 1 will be here. And if you put f of 1 by 10, then you will get minus 10. So it will, as you are approaching 0, which is becoming increasing negative, and if you give in minus 1 upon 100, it will give you minus 100. So the values are becoming more and more negative. So as you approach 0 from the left hand side, the values are becoming more and more negative. And if you approach 0 from the right hand side, the values are becoming more and more positive. So what is the value at 0? Well, the function itself is not defined at 0. That's what we say. It's tending towards infinity as we tend towards 0. This is not defined. The thing is, f of x you can put all values of x. You can clearly see for every x you are getting some y, but not 0. So you have some restrictions on x. Okay, and such restrictions on x, the set of x you can put in this function, okay, is called the domain of a function. Now in this case, the domain of f is, you can have all the real numbers, okay, R, that's the set of all real numbers, minus 0. This means you can put any value of x you like, but it should not be 0. Alright. Now you have already encountered this when we were in the discussion of root x. Alright. The restriction was that x should be greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0. So the domain of root x was all positive 0 and all positive real numbers. Okay, or you can write something like this: 0, infinity. Yeah, the domain of root x, 0 included, till infinity, till positive infinity. Now let us understand this domain better by looking at a couple of examples. Consider f of x as 1 upon x plus 5. Now again, the denominator should not be 0, otherwise it won't be defined for 0. So x plus 5 should not be equal to 0. So x should not be equal to minus 5. Alright. Or you can say that, okay, let x plus 5 be 0 and x is equal to 5. Now you can remember, okay, we should not put x is equal to minus 5 in this expression. So you can write domain of f is equal to all real numbers. You can you can put any real number like 100, 1000, 1, 2, 3, 4, but not minus 5. So subtract 5 from this set. Right? Now another example, let us consider the function 2x, f of x equal to 2x upon x square minus 4. Again, the denominator should not be 0, otherwise function won't be defined. Note the numerator part can be 0. At x is equal to 0, the function will be 0. Okay, 0 is not a problem here. The denominator is the problem. So x square minus 4 should be 0, which gives x as plus 2 or minus 2. So you put plus 2 here and minus 2 here, this will become 0. That's a problem. So it can take any value of x, again, it can take any value of x you like, but not 2 or minus 2. So domain of f is all the real numbers minus 2 and 2. All real numbers, remove this part, these two elements from the real number. Now consider f of x square minus 4 x minus 2 x. Now it looks like x is equal to 2 is a problem, because then if you insert 2 you get 0 in the denominator, and it's not, something upon 0 is not defined, function is not defined, that's why we can't put x is equal to 2. It's slightly trickier than this. Well, if you look carefully, x square minus 4 can be written as x plus 2, x minus 2 upon, and then this will be x minus 2 upon 2, and then x minus 2 cancels out and we get x plus 2 upon x. Alright, and now we can say that this is f of x, and now we can say that okay, the denominator should not be 0, but this happens only at x is equal to 0. So f of x is all real numbers, just remove 0 from them. So today we learned what functions are, the machine model for functions, you can call that, and learned how to calculate the domain of some functions. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.